Magic Meets Reality, the real-world connection with Harry Potter and issues of racism, discrimination, and prejudice. Harry Potter and me. As a kid, I didn't understand why Harry Potter was so popular, and so I decided to read the series in 7th grade. After several hours of reading and 7 books later, I found myself in love with Harry Potter. And here I am today. My research. I wanted to find the hidden connections between the Harry Potter series and the real world. I also wanted to analyze the extent of the influence and impact the series had on our society. I focused on the issues of race, racism, discrimination, and prejudice. In the series, these issues are portrayed in a way that can relate back to issues of our world. My research also found that readers have been positively impacted by the books and have been given the tools to confront these issues in their own lives. Before I start, I want to summarize the 7 books for anyone who isn't familiar with the plot. Harry Potter, the protagonist, discovers that he is a wizard and goes to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. He meets and befriends Ron and Hermione, who are also main characters in the series. The antagonist of the series is Lord Voldemort, who is obsessed with purifying the wizard population with his Death Eater followers. He tried to kill Harry as a young child with the Forbidden Death Curse, but Harry survived, and he is the only one to have done so. Throughout the 7 books, Harry and his friends attend Hogwarts while facing numerous challenges that eventually lead to a final battle with Voldemort. Spoiler alert, Harry wins. And here are some key terms that you'll need to know. Muggle. This refers to a human who has no magic and doesn't come from a magical family. So in other words, us. Muggle-born. This is a wizard with magic that is born to 2 Muggle parents. Half-blood. This is a wizard with parentage split between wizards and Muggles. Pure-blood. This is a wizard with a purely magical family and no Muggle or Muggle-born ancestry. Squib. This is a human born to magical parents but has no magical abilities. Purity of blood or blood status refers to a wizard's family tree and how magical each member is. In the books, there are levels of blood purity that divide the wizarding community along racial lines, similar to how the races in our world divide our society. Tiffany Walters, the author of Not So Magical, Issues with Racism, Classism, and Ideology in Harry Potter, believes that these blood purity divisions result in discrimination amongst wizards. She argues that the purebloods are stereotyped to be superior to all the half-bloods, Muggle-borns, squibs, and Muggles, which are all beings with lesser blood purity. Her claims can be further proved by the wizards with lesser blood purity. They are considered to be inferior, and their treatment can be compared to that of racial minorities in our society. For example, squibs. They often hide from wizarding society because they are ashamed of having no magic, despite having magical parentage. They find it difficult to fit in and try to learn magic in order to conform to wizarding standards. In the real world, racial minorities are sometimes mocked or become outcast for being different from the norm. For example, some Asian children may have their ethnic names mocked for sounding different. This usually results in the children adopting white names in order to fit in. In both scenarios, it is clear that those who don't live up to certain standards are susceptible to social outcasting. Half-bloods are treated better than squibs because they have magical abilities, but they are still harassed for having a tainted ancestry. Some of them are associated with blood traitors, or those that hold sympathy for Muggles and Muggle-borns. They can face extreme hatred or treatment for holding these beliefs. Similarly, people of mixed races in our world may feel the same way. They have divided heritage and can receive criticism from either side. The racism and discrimination that beings of lesser purity face can be seen the most among Muggle-borns. Most purebloods resent Muggle-borns because of the impurity of their blood. They believe that Muggle-borns don't deserve their magic and that they are less skilled. This can be compared to the stereotypes and racism that immigrants face in America. Some Americans feel that immigrants don't deserve a place in their country because they aren't true natives and shouldn't be prioritized. Many immigrants have to learn English as it is not their native language and are often mocked for their imperfect speech or thought of as less intelligent. However, this is obviously not the case, as many immigrants are just as capable as any other member of American society and should be treated as such. The discrimination against Muggle-borns is also seen through verbal slandering and physical hatred, which is demonstrated through Hermione. Draco Malfoy, a pureblood, calls Hermione a filthy little mudblood, which is a very offensive term. This is similar to the racial slurs that are sometimes used in our world. Hermione is a bright Muggle-born witch, but because of her impure blood, she is constantly bullied by the likes of Malfoy. Later on in the books, she is physically tortured for being a Muggle-born by Bellatrix, who is a Death Eater or a wizard that believes in preserving blood purity. In the series, the Death Eaters threaten the wizarding world by pursuing Muggle-borns, Muggles, blood traders, and those who oppose them. They are led by Voldemort, who constantly tries to project his idea of racial perfection and uses violent and forceful means to do so. In the thesis Mudbloods, Half-Bloods, and Purebloods, the issues of racism and race discrimination in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter, Karen Mahler draws parallels between Voldemort's anti-Mudblood movement and Hitler's desire to eliminate Jews. Voldemort and Hitler both took actions to fulfill their idea of racial purity, which exhibits how the issue of racial ideology and racism present themselves in the Harry Potter world. The Harry Potter series covers a variety of issues in a magical setting that connects to our world, but has also made real impacts on our society, especially on its readers. In the Guardian article titled How Harry Potter Changed My Life by Lena Creasy, a few millennials shared their stories about the impact of Harry Potter on their lives. Melanie Martin had been self-harming, and through the Harry Potter series, she was able to heal. She said that, eventually, the books helped me understand that I could rely and lean on my friends, and importantly, confide in them. And it then became a group effort to get me better. Crystal Sim is another reader who found solace in Harry Potter. Around the same time that she read the first book, she had lost her mother, much like Harry does in the series. She recalls an emotional scene where Harry's mother expresses her pride for her son through a magical mirror and how touched she was by this expression of love during a time of grief. She said, "I could relate to what they had lost," which helped her through her struggles. Through these stories, it is clear that the books created meaningful and lasting connections between characters and readers, displaying the true extent of the series' impact. The presentation of real-world issues in the series and the relatability of character struggles offer a chance for readers to develop an understanding of how to deal with the same situations in their own lives. Italian professor Loris Vazzali and his colleagues conducted a study to see how reading short stories could improve attitudes towards stigmatized groups in children. In his study, Italian elementary school children were divided into two groups. One group read passages from Harry Potter relating to prejudice, such as when Draco calls Hermione a mudblood. These children had improved their attitudes towards immigrants, which were a stigmatized group in Italy. The other group read neutral passages, and their attitudes didn't change. This study is concrete scientific proof that Harry Potter gives readers a more empathetic view towards issues involving prejudice. The books portray real issues creatively, and readers subconsciously pick up on these issues. So whether the readers realize it or not, they are given the tools to recognize and tackle these problems in their own lives. With all the issues that Harry Potter covers, it's clear that the series is more than just a fantasy tale. We must continue to draw parallels between the real world and works of literature. There are valuable lessons hidden behind stories. Just like J.K. Rowling once said, I do believe something very magical can happen when you read a good book. And these are my credit slides. The end. Thank you.